It's not often that you're able to jump on a train, put all your energy and belief into the idea that that train will actually reach its far flung destination despite the protestations of legions of naysayers and actually see it on its journey all the way until it pulls into the station. But it looks like Cardano is about to have a gilded and triumphant 2022, and a lot of us are going to have exactly that feeling I just described. Ready? Let's go. We're going to discuss IOHK's very promising recent new user predictions and exactly what that might mean. Cardano now having non DeFi projects racking up millions of visits per month on social media, an IOHK guide on how to best do Cardano Psyops on our families over the holidays, COTI making big DEX plans for Djed, and an NFT marketplace with what seems like an actually better way to look at NFT collections. The IOHK Twitter account is getting pretty bold, and I gotta say, I like it. So today they put out this tweet. A constellation of projects is building on Cardano. They're saying first we'll see them on testnet, then we'll see them on mainnet, with the result that tens of thousands of new users will be coming to Cardano over the coming months. Think about that for a moment. Tens of thousands of new users coming to Cardano over the coming months. So we don't know if the intent here is to imply that these will be new users to crypto or current users of crypto using Cardano for the first time. Of course, it'll be a mix, probably a lot of the latter group. But regardless, this is going to be an amazing and wonderful thing to behold over the coming months. And I do think this is going to happen. Just the sheer number of projects that are coming online, and they're kind of all coming online at once after, you already know, years of anticipation. This is going to attract a lot of users. The thing we need to be prepared, and there are a million positives about that. One negative that will occur, this is going to massively mess up all your little Cardano discussion circles, all your little discords, everything you go to. If tens of thousands of new users come online to Cardano, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. You're going to go into your discords and there's going to be a million Cardano noobs asking why this works differently than it did in Solana. This thing is slightly different than it was in Ethereum. How come this works the way it is? What is a UTXO? why can't we just do it the Ethereum way? I think there's going to be quite a bit of that. I personally am going to enjoy watching all that go down. I think it's inevitable that we get some amount of friction from all these new users, but probably for every little bit of friction we experience like that, there's going to be a lot of amazement when they realize that things actually work over here. Every single DApp doesn't constantly get hacked or rug pulled, and the fees are not insane. We're kind of used to seeing the crazy stats on Cardano DeFi projects, like SundaySwap having almost a third as many followers on Twitter as Uniswap prior to it even launching. But now we're starting to see similar things with even non-DeFi Cardano projects. Here's Pavia tweeting out that over the last 28 days, they've had 3 million tweet impressions and almost 2.4 million profile visits. This is crazy because Pavia went live 10 weeks ago. This project 10 weeks old as far as an actual live product out there. This is a really good sign. I think not only is the crypto world going to embrace Cardano DeFi, but I think all Cardano projects. IOHK put out this article on how to talk to your family about Cardano at Christmas, and it gives exactly the right kinds of instructions with the right kind of jolly tone. Let's talk about DeFi, let's talk about RealFi, all these good things. But I think I'm going to take this a step further this year. I'm just going to straight make up fictional propaganda and spout it over the holidays. So here's my plan. You know how there's always, somehow at the holidays, there's always a TV on, and somehow it's always reporting like the most horrific global news. Somehow, I don't know how the news networks manage to do this, but always on the holidays, they manage to run with some horrific news about some tragedy somewhere in the world. I'm sure it's going to be like a gas leak at an orphanage somewhere, and it'll be on every news network, right during the jolliest part of the holidays. When that happens, I'm going to look around at everyone with a straight face, and I'm going to say, that's exactly the orphanage that Charles Hoskinson donated $25 trillion to. You and I know that's a ridiculous number, but over the holidays, people probably won't know. Family members might not know. And no matter what they say, no matter how hard they challenge me on it, I'm going to claim, I'm not going to deviate from that number. I'm going to claim he donated $25 trillion. Completely ridiculous. But I'm not going to deviate from that. If anybody does continue to challenge me on it, I'm going to create a fake news website reporting on the donation of $25 trillion with other believable stories, and I'm going to Photoshop a picture of Charles in front of the orphanage. And then at the end of all of it, I'm going to look around at everyone and say, do you think that Bitcoin's energy consumption might have contributed to the gas leak? Again, totally seriously. We also got some news about Djed from COTI. COTI is partnering with the AdaSwap DEX. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be a Cardano native stablecoin. And we've talked in the past in previous videos about how interesting that Tricoin system that Djed is based on, how interesting that all is. But we're going to have a Cardano native stablecoin on an actual Cardano DEX. I didn't know a whole lot about AdaSwap when this came out. You might have noted, you might have seen the very, very light and friendly controversy about whether or not AdaSwap would actually be the first decentralized exchange. Of course, most people would point to MuesliSwap, and you can debate what level of decentralization constitutes the first decentralized exchange, but MuesliSwap definitely had a smart contract up and running. I'm not too interested in that particular piece, but I didn't know a lot about AdaSwap. So I took a little tiny cursory look at AdaSwap's website. So I came on over here to the AdaSwap website and I scrolled on down to the bottom, and oh no, immediately my reaction was like, oh no, we cannot have this TRC20 contract. That is a Tron contract, if I'm remembering correctly. We don't want anything to do with Tron. Even Justin Sun has left Tron, apparently to become a diplomat, a member of the diplomatic corps of Grenada. That's how badly Justin Sun apparently wanted to get away from Tron. We certainly don't want any association with Tron. And then I got thinking, actually, this is kind of similar to the influx of users we might see that we talked about earlier in this video. And I should probably have a more open mind. And also, if you were making a wish list for a Tron project, somehow magically they were going to just do whatever you said. If you're making a wish list for a Tron project from a Cardano perspective, the main thing you would wish is that they would just move over to Cardano. So these guys are kind of doing exactly what we would want them to do from a Cardano perspective. So I can't exactly blame this project for having past associations with Tron when it's called AdaSwap and it looks like they're coming on over to Cardano. And they also have a whole token migration page where they thank everybody for the understanding for the token migration, but explain that a good project needs a good base. If that's about Cardano, I can't really blame them. I don't know too much about AdaSwap beyond just this, but I am pretty excited that we're going to have a Cardano native stablecoin on an actual Cardano DEX. I think that's a pretty big threshold that we're going to cross. The Artifact Moon Metaverse launch was today. So you probably remember we have a Pavia Army of Spies beach. Then Ada Realm came out, and I thought, hey, we don't know when these metaverses finally launch at some point down the road. If they do get to that point where they become full on metaverses, no one knows. No one knows if they'll execute on their plans, what their plans actually are, what they'll end up looking like. I mean, we have some vague ideas, but nobody can really see in the future and see how good these metaverses are going to turn out. So when Ada Realm came along, I thought, hey, we need an Army of Spies beach, a spy beach in Ada Realm as well. So we now have also a multi-parcel spy beach in Ada Realm. Then I remembered when this moon metaverse came out from Artifact, I remembered, hey, I watched all those old Bond movies back in the day. What kind of army of spies would we be if we didn't have a moon base? You pretty much need to have a moon base. So we now have a moon base, not just one, but two moon bases, one on the near side, one on the dark side. I know Artifact is trying to call it the not the dark side, but the far side. But come on, it's the dark side of the moon. That sounds awesome. You got to call it the dark side of the moon. So we have one on the dark side of the moon and the near side of the moon. What was interesting though about this launch, so it was a cool idea. Apparently they're using like real data from the surface of the moon, and you can kind of tell when you look at the actual NFTs, the parcels. I mean, you can tell they look like they were based on data from the actual moon. Here's a little sampling of some of the landing sites. Here is sort of a stitched together view of the map. There's already a more detailed map on the Discord that'll hit this website soon. This was all very interesting, moon, interesting stuff. Cardano metaverse, of course. Of course, I'm going to be in when it's a Cardano metaverse and they're doing interesting stuff involving the moon. But during the course of this launch today, I actually found something that I think was almost more interesting for Cardano metaverses in general. Here is the nftjam.io page for this Artifact Moon set, this collection of metaverse NFTs. And they did something I kind of like. So I think everybody at this point has realized there's a pretty big difference between metaverse NFTs, at least the ones that correspond to the digital real estate, and your average PFP NFT collection. With the PFPs, it's kind of, I mean, the metrics are more like, does he have a mustache? How big is it? What kind of cigarette is he smoking? Okay, it's way more complicated than that. But to me, it's basically like, does he have a mustache? What kind of cigarette is it? Those are the kind of metrics we see with PFP NFTs. And while I admire and am super happy that the PFP NFT thing blew up so hard on Cardano, it's a little bit different with these metaverse parcels because you pretty much just get a number and it's a grid location, coordinates to the piece of digital real estate. And that's it in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, they're not even visually distinguishable from each other. With this Artifact Moon metaverse, it's based on actual pieces of the lunar surface. So they do look different. But I think what NFTjam.io is doing here is actually even more valuable probably for those metaverses where like Ada Realm or Pavia, where the pictures are very, very similar to each other. So with NFTjam.io, they've just laid out the entire collection by grid numbers. If we pick, plot 2, section 13, the exact NFT comes up right here. So if you wanted to see something about your particular parcel, super easy with, at least with this Artifact Moon metaverse, to find it very, very quickly. And we're still pretty early in this Cardano metaverse thing. So a lot of the projects, I mean, they're busy building the project and they don't necessarily have time to build out all of these kind of little analytical tools. And a lot of times the community, like we talked about yesterday, the community ends up building out the most often used analytical tools for these metaverses. So it's great to see that NFT Jam has some way at least to look at all of the parcels in the entire metaverse. I think this should probably become standard for every single NFT market that's going to be dealing with metaverse parcels, because it's difficult sometimes to wade through the discords and figure out exactly how many are there. This is great detail. See right here, they tell us on the near side of the moon there are 2,000, on the far side 3,000. Important information. But I think this is the way all the markets should do it. Something like this, something at least as equally powerful, so you can at least figure out where the parcel sits in the overall collection. Great job on this, nftjam.io. Like I said, we really don't know which of these metaverses will execute well on their plans. Artifact tells us when their spaces, including this moon space, officially launch, each plot will be customizable, convertible, subdividable. You'll be able to explore it with anyone to showcase digital art, host live events, and more. I don't know who's going to make their metaverse cool, but the ultimate situation, I think, would be if they were all executed well, they all turn out well. We could have like, one week we could hang out at Pavia, have a Friday night session where we're all having drinks or something and hanging out with our little avatars in Pavia. Then the next week it's at Ada Realm. Then the next week, who knows, maybe we're looking at NFT art up at our moon base. I don't know. I hope that's the way it turns out. Also, hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.